The conference room smelled like leather and expensive cologne. I sat at the head of the mahogany table, my hands folded in my lap to stop them from shaking. 40 years. 40 years since I started this company in my garage, and now I was sitting here, about to be voted out by my own son. Robert sat across from me, perfectly composed in his tailored suit. 5 other board members filled the remaining seats. My attorney, Patricia, sat to my right, her briefcase open, but her expression told me everything I needed to know. We were losing. Mrs. Chen, the board chairman began. Marcus Whitfield had been my friend for 20 years, but today his voice was formal, distant. We're here to discuss the motion put forth by Robert Chen to transition leadership of Chen and Associates. I glanced at the empty chair beside Patricia, my daughter Sarah's chair. She'd passed away 3 years ago in a car accident, leaving behind her son Michael. I'd been so lost in grief, I hadn't noticed Robert slowly tightening his grip on the company. Before we proceed, Robert said, standing up. His voice was smooth, practiced. I want to make clear that this isn't personal. It's about what's best for the company my mother built. The way he said my mother built stung. As if my work was past tense, as if I was already gone. Mother's been struggling, Robert continued, walking around the table like a prosecutor. She missed 3 client meetings last month. She forgot about the Singapore deal. She called our CFO by the wrong name twice. I opened my mouth to defend myself, but Patricia touched my arm. We'd been over this. Defending would make me look desperate. I have documentation, Robert said, sliding folders across the table. Medical evaluations suggesting early-stage cognitive decline. Concerns from department heads about missed deadlines. Client complaints about confusion during presentations. Those evaluations were from a doctor you recommended, I said, my voice steadier than I felt. And the Singapore deal didn't happen because you told me the meeting was rescheduled. Robert gave me a patient smile. The kind you give a confused elderly relative. Mom, you wrote it down wrong in your calendar. We all saw it. The board members shifted uncomfortably. I could see it in their faces. They believed him. Why wouldn't they? Robert was 45, sharp, successful. I was 68, grieving, tired. The narrative was too easy. I'm proposing a graceful transition, Robert continued. Mother becomes chairman emeritus. Fully paid salary, benefits, office. She just steps back from daily operations. Let the next generation lead. Next generation. He made it sound generous. But I knew what it meant. I'd be shuffled off to a corner office with no power, no voice, while Robert dismantled everything I'd built. I'd seen the emails he thought I hadn't found. Plans to sell off our nonprofit division, layoffs in our diversity program, canceling the scholarship fund Sarah had started before she died. I'd like to hear from Mrs. Chen, Marcus said, looking at me with what might have been pity. I built this company from nothing, I said. My voice cracked, and I hated myself for it. In 1985, I had $3,000 and a dream. We now have 200 employees across 4 states. We donate 15% of our profits to educational programs. Sarah believed, Sarah's gone, Mom. Robert's voice was gentle, which somehow made it worse. And you're exhausted. You've earned your rest. This isn't about rest, I said. This is about you. The conference room door opened. Michael stood there. My grandson, 16 years old, wearing the same determined expression his mother used to have. He was tall for his age, skinny, with Sarah's dark eyes. I'm sorry I'm late, he said. Robert's face darkened. Michael, this is a private board meeting. You need to leave. Actually, Michael said, walking into the room with his backpack, Grandmother asked me to be here. That was a lie. I hadn't asked him to be here. I didn't even know he was in the building. Mrs. Chen? Marcus looked at me, confused. Michael was already pulling out his laptop. I'm here as a proxy for my mother's shares. She left them to me in her will, with Grandmother as trustee until I turn 18, which means I have observer rights at board meetings. Patricia's eyebrows shot up. She grabbed her phone, quickly pulling up documents. Robert stood. This is ridiculous. You're a kid. You don't understand corporate governance. I understand enough, Michael said, setting up his laptop and connecting it to the conference room screen. I've been going through Mom's old files. She kept everything in the cloud, all her emails, all her notes from board meetings. "Michael," I said softly, "what are you doing?" "Showing them the truth, Grandma." He looked at me, and his eyes were bright with tears. "Mom wouldn't let them do this to you. So I won't either." The screen lit up. It was an email thread. From Robert Chen to Marcus Whitfield. Date April 2013, 2024. Subject: The Helen Situation. Marcus: "We need to accelerate the timeline. Mother's still too sharp. I need her making more mistakes. I've switched her medications, told the pharmacy it was a doctor's order. The new pills should cause enough confusion to build our case." The room went silent. "That's fake," Robert said immediately. "He fabricated that." "There's metadata," Michael said quietly. "Digital signatures, timestamps. And there's more." He clicked to the next email. Robert Chen to Dr. Richard Morrison. Date April 20. Shidoi 2024. Subject: Evaluation Report. Richard: "Thanks for the cognitive assessment. I know Mother's results were actually quite good, but I need the report to reflect concerns about early decline. We discussed the consulting fee. Let me know when you can have the revised version ready." "Those are privileged communications," Robert said, his voice rising. "Illegally obtained." "They were on Mom's shared company server," Michael said. "The one she had access to as a board member. Not illegal at all." Marcus was reading the emails, his face getting redder. "Robert, is this true?" "Of course not. The kid is lying. He's grieving his mother. He's confused." "There's a video, too," Michael said. He pressed play. The video was shaky at first, clearly recorded on a phone. Then the image stabilized. It was Robert, sitting in what looked like a bar, talking to someone off camera. "The old woman's finally losing it," Video Robert said, laughing. "I've been gaslighting her for months, moving her files, changing meeting times in her calendar, having my assistant call her with fake client complaints." "Isn't that risky?" the other voice said. "Not if she's already doubting herself. That's the beauty of it. She's so worried about getting old. She believes every mistake is real. In 3 months, the board will be begging me to take over. What about the non-profit stuff? The scholarships? Gone. First quarter after I take over. That bleeding heart crap is what Sarah wanted, not me. We're a business, not a charity. Once I'm CEO, we focus on profit, real profit." Michael paused the video. I couldn't breathe. The room was spinning. That was my son who I'd raised, who I'd put through Harvard, who I'd made CFO when he was only 35 because I trusted him. "That video is out of context," Robert said, but his voice had lost its smoothness. It was a joke, dark humor. "There's 6 more videos," Michael said. "All from different dates, all with timestamps, all saved to Mom's secure backup. She'd been investigating you, Uncle Robert, before she died." Robert's face had gone white. She was paranoid. "Sarah always had it out for me because I was Dad's favorite." "Our father left when we were children," I said, my voice cold. "You were nobody's favorite." Michael pulled up another document. "Here's the real medical evaluation from Grandmother's actual doctor. Clean bill of health, sharp cognition, no signs of decline." Patricia was typing frantically on her phone. "I'm calling our legal team. Robert, you're looking at fraud, elder abuse, possibly criminal charges." "You're overreacting," Robert said, but he was moving toward the door. "This is a family matter." "Sit down," Marcus said. His voice was sharp. "Security is already at the exits. You're not leaving this building until we sort this out." Robert sank back into his chair. He looked at me, and for just a second, I saw something in his face. Not remorse, anger, hatred. How long had he hated me? "Michael," I said, my throat tight. "Where did you find all this?" "Mom's cloud drive," he said. "She left me the password. In a letter, she said if anything ever happened to her, I should make sure you were okay. She said she didn't trust Uncle Robert." The letter. Sarah had given Michael a letter. My eyes filled with tears. "She knew," I whispered. "She knew what he was doing." "She had a file," Michael said. "Hundreds of pages. She'd been documenting everything for 2 years. She was going to present it to the board. But then," his voice broke. "The accident. Sarah's death. A rainy night. A slippery road. A truck that ran a red light. Or had it been an accident? I looked at Robert. "Did you?" "No," he said quickly. "I didn't. I swear. Sarah's death was an accident. I'm a lot of things, but I'm not a murderer." For some reason, I believed him. Robert was greedy, manipulative, cruel. But he wasn't violent. Just empty where his heart should have been. "We need to vote," Marcus said. "All in favor of Robert's motion to remove Mrs. Chen as CEO?" Silence. All opposed? 6 hands went up. Only Robert stayed down. "Motion denied," Marcus said. "Robert, effective immediately. You're suspended pending a full investigation. Patricia, please coordinate with legal on the next steps." Robert stood, his face twisted. "This isn't over, Mother. You won't last 6 months without me. You'll run this company into the ground." "Get out," I said. He left, slamming the door. The board members excused themselves one by one, murmuring apologies. Marcus squeezed my shoulder. "Helen, I'm sorry. I should have questioned this earlier." "You trusted him," I said. "We all did." When the room was empty, except for Michael, Patricia, and me, I finally let myself cry. Michael came around the table and hugged me. He was so tall now. When had he gotten so tall? "Grandma, I'm sorry," he said. "I know I should have told you what I was doing, but I was afraid Uncle Robert would find out. I've been working on this for months." "Your mother raised an incredible young man," I said, holding him tight. "How did you even know how to do all this? The metadata? The digital signatures?" "YouTube," he said, giving me a watery smile. "And Mom taught me to always keep evidence. She was paranoid about Uncle Robert. She said he'd try something eventually." Patricia was packing up her briefcase. "Helen, we have a lot of legal work ahead of us, but Michael's evidence is solid. The board is behind you. And frankly, Robert's lucky if he avoids criminal charges." "I don't want to press charges," I said. "He's still my son." "He tried to steal your company," Patricia said gently. "And he was poisoning you, switching your medications. That's attempted elder abuse at minimum." I closed my eyes. She was right, but he was still my son, the baby I'd nursed through colic, the boy who'd once made me Mother's Day cards in crayon. "I need time to think," I said. The next few weeks were a blur. The board launched a formal investigation. Robert was fired, not just suspended. We found more evidence, diverted funds, kickbacks from vendors, plans to sell the company to a private equity firm that would have gutted it. Sarah had known all of it. She'd spent her last 2 years building a case, and then she'd died, leaving everything to Michael to finish. I went through her files late at night, reading her notes. She'd written about me. "Mom's the strongest person I know, but she has a blind spot. She loves too much. She keeps giving Robert chances because she believes people can change. But some people don't change. Some people just get better at hiding who they are. If anything happens to me, Michael needs to protect her. She won't protect herself. She'd been protecting me, even from beyond the grave." 3 months later, I stood in front of the company's 200 employees at our annual meeting. Michael sat in the front row, wearing a suit Sarah had bought him for his birthday. He looked so grown up. "This year has been difficult," I said. "We lost a leader, a visionary, and my beloved daughter, Sarah Chen. And we discovered that someone we trusted had betrayed that trust. But we've also learned something important. This company isn't built on one person. It's built on all of us." I announced Sarah's Legacy Initiative. Every year, we'd sponsor 10 high school students interested in business. We'd mentor them, intern them, and offer college scholarships. Michael would help run the program. I also announced my succession plan. In 5 years, when I turned 73, I would step down as CEO. Michael would have a seat on the board when he turned 18. And we were promoting 3 women from within to senior leadership positions. "Change is coming," I said, "but it will be change we choose. Change that honors what Sarah believed in. Change that makes this company stronger." The applause was thunderous. Afterwards, Michael and I went to lunch at Sarah's favorite restaurant, a small Vietnamese place downtown where they made pho that tasted like home. "Grandma," he said, pushing noodles around in his bowl, "do you think Mom knew about the accident?" "What do you mean?" "The truck that hit her. It ran a red light. But what if Uncle Robert—" "No," I said firmly. The police investigated. It was an accident. A terrible, random accident. But sometimes, late at night, I wondered too. Robert swore he had nothing to do with it. The police found no evidence of foul play, but Sarah had been so close to exposing him. And then she was gone. I'd never know for sure. And maybe that was okay. Maybe some questions didn't need answers. She'd be proud of you, I told Michael. What you did took courage. You saved the company. You saved me. You saved yourself, he said. I just helped. We ate in comfortable silence. Outside the window, the city moved on. People hurried to meetings. Cars honked. Life continued. I thought about Robert sometimes. He'd moved to California, started a consulting firm. We didn't speak. Maybe someday we would. Maybe someday I'd understand how he'd become the person he was, but not today. Grandma, Michael said, can I ask you something? Anything. When you started the company, were you scared? Terrified? I said. I was 30 years old with a business degree and no experience. Everyone said I'd fail, but you didn't. No, I didn't, because I learned something important. Failure isn't falling down. Failure is staying down. He smiled. Mom used to say that. I know. I taught it to her. We finished our pho. Michael paid the bill, insisting even though I protested. As we walked back to the office, he took my hand. He hadn't done that since he was small. Thank you, I said. For what? For being here. For being you. For finishing what your mother started. She left me instructions, he said. In her letter, she said, take care of Grandma. She'll try to take care of everyone else, but someone needs to take care of her. So that's what I'm doing. My eyes filled with tears. Again. I seem to cry a lot these days. You know, I said, when I was building this company, people told me I was too old to start, too female, too immigrant. They said I should find a nice husband and forget about business. That's garbage, Michael said. It is. But I believed them sometimes. I doubted myself. And then I'd remember why I started. To build something that mattered. To prove that anyone can succeed if they work hard enough. To create opportunities for people like me. People like us, Michael corrected. Yes, people like us. We reached the office building. My building, with my name on it. Chen and Associates, 40 years old and still standing. Grandma, Michael said as we stood in the lobby. Do you think you'll ever retire? I thought about it. 5 years seemed like the right timeline. I'd be 73. Maybe ready to slow down. Maybe ready to travel, like I'd always wanted. Maybe ready to write a book about what I'd learned. But maybe not. Ask me in 5 years, I said. He laughed. Fair enough. We rode the elevator up to the executive floor. Patricia was waiting with papers to sign. More legal matters from Robert's case, more depositions, more headaches, but also more good news. 3 new clients. A partnership with a major university. Recognition from a business journal as one of the top minority-owned companies in the state. Sarah would have loved that. As I sat down at my desk, I looked at the photo on my credenza. Sarah and Michael at his 10th birthday party. She had her arm around him, both of them laughing at something off camera. They had the same smile. I kept my promise, I whispered to the photo. I took care of our company, and Michael took care of me. The photo didn't answer, but I felt it. That warmth, that presence. Sarah watching over us. Michael poked his head into my office. Grandma, your 3 o'clock is here. The reporters from Business Week? Right. The interview about the Sarah Chen Legacy Initiative. Give me 5 minutes, I said. He nodded and closed the door. I stood up, straightened my jacket, checked my reflection in the window. 68 years old, gray hair, wrinkles around my eyes. But when I smiled, I saw the 30-year-old who'd started this journey. Still there, still fighting. Robert had tried to convince everyone I was losing my mind, losing my edge. Too old to lead. He was wrong. I wasn't losing anything. I was gaining perspective. Gaining strength from the next generation. Gaining freedom from people who didn't deserve my trust. The reporters were waiting. Young women, both of them, probably fresh out of college. They reminded me of myself at that age, ambitious, hungry, ready to change the world. "Mrs. Chen," one of them said, shaking my hand. "Thank you for meeting with us. We're doing a feature on women entrepreneurs who've maintained leadership past retirement age. How do you stay relevant in a field that often pushes out older women?" I smiled. "By remembering that age isn't weakness, it's wisdom, and by making sure the next generation has my back, the way I have theirs." Michael was standing in the doorway, listening. He gave me a thumbs up. "Also," I added, "by having a really good grandson." The interview went well. We talked about Sarah, about Michael's courage, about building a company that valued people over profit, about the importance of mentoring young leaders. When they left, I felt energized instead of drained. This was what I was meant to do, not just run a company, but build a legacy. That evening, Michael and I ordered pizza in my office and watched the sunset over the city. "Do you ever think about what would have happened?" he asked. "If I hadn't found Mom's files?" "Every day," I said honestly. "Robert would have won. I'd be sitting in a corner office somewhere, watching him destroy everything I built. But you would have fought back eventually, right?" "I don't know," I said. I was doubting myself so much. He was good at making me feel crazy, making me question my own memory. If you hadn't shown up with proof, I might have believed him. "That's what gaslighting does," Michael said. He'd been reading about psychological manipulation, trying to understand his uncle's tactics. "It makes you doubt reality." "It's insidious," I agreed, "especially when it comes from someone you love." We sat in silence for a moment. "Grandma?" Michael said. "I'm glad I could help, but I'm also glad I don't have to do it alone anymore. Running a company looks really hard." I laughed. "It is, but you don't have to do it alone. That's the secret. Surround yourself with good people. Trust them. Let them help you." "Is that what Mom did?" "Yes. Your mother built a team. She trusted people. And when she saw Robert betraying that trust, she documented everything because she knew she couldn't fight him alone. She built a case. She prepared you to finish it if she couldn't." "She was smart," Michael said softly. "She was brilliant," I corrected. "And so are you." He blushed. "I just did what she asked." "No, you did more than that. You took initiative. You learned skills you didn't have. You stood up in that boardroom when you were terrified. That's not just following instructions. That's leadership." We finished our pizza as the sky turned purple and gold. The city lights began twinkling below us. "I should get home," Michael said. "Dad's making dinner." David, Sarah's widower. A good man who'd been lost in his own grief. "How's your father doing?" I asked. "Better," Michael said. "He's dating again. Nothing serious, but it's good to see him smile." "Good. Tell him I said hello." After Michael left, I stayed in my office a while longer. I pulled up Sarah's files one more time, read through her notes, her plans, her dreams for the company. She'd wanted to expand the nonprofit division, create more scholarships, partner with community colleges, build affordable housing for employees. "I'll do it," I said to her memory. "All of it. I promise." My phone buzzed. A text from Patricia. "Judge approved the settlement. Robert's officially barred from company property and prohibited from contacting you. It's over. It's over." I closed my eyes and let out a breath I'd been holding for months. It was over. Robert was gone. The company was safe. Michael was protected. Sarah's legacy would continue. I thought about what the reporter had asked. How do you stay relevant? The answer was simple. You don't fight age. You embrace it. You use your experience, your wisdom, your scars. You let the next generation help you, and you help them in return. You build something that lasts. I shut down my computer and gathered my things. Tomorrow was a board meeting, then lunch with potential investors, then a mentorship session with 3 of the scholarship recipients. The work continued. But now, it felt lighter, because I wasn't carrying it alone. As I rode the elevator down, I thought about that 30-year-old woman who'd started this company in her garage. What would she think if she could see me now? She'd probably be surprised I'd made it this far. But she'd also be proud. I walked out into the cool evening air. The city hummed around me. Somewhere out there, Robert was starting over. Michael was having dinner with his father. Sarah's memory lived on in the company she'd helped build, and I was still here. Still standing. Still fighting. 68 years old and just getting started.